like to watch other ministers on TV. I like to kind of see what they're doing, what they're talking about, what's been important to them. And so I was watching this one minister, and at the end of his really fiery talk, he said, "If I had all the beer in the world, I would throw it into the river." And then he said, with even more fervor, he said, "If I had all the wine in the world, I would throw it into the river." And then he just was at a fever pitch by this time, and he said, "If I had all the whiskey in the world, I'd throw it into the river." And as he finished his talk, the song leader walked up and he said, "Would you please turn to page 365? Shall we all gather at the river?" So that was the impetus for this flowing day, for this flowing with the universe. That's what my message is today. Flowing with the universe. And that kind of goes along with what Jane was talking about on the hummingbird, and that is listening to the messages that we get. So this talk came up for me because for a couple of weeks, every time I reached for something else would drop off on the floor. Every time. I wouldn't even have to touch it. It would just reach, fall. I could count on it. And pretty soon I did. I was ready. But it was really frustrating, and I realized I wasn't dropping them. Something was dropping them. Something was causing them to fall, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out what that was. So first it started off just occasionally, every once in a while. You know, no big deal, that happens. But I didn't pay attention. And then it started happening every day. Well, then it just started getting annoying. And then it started happening multiple times a day. I could reach out on my table for a spoon, I'd drop a knife. I could reach onto my desk and drop the stapler. Nothing, the funny thing is, it was never anything that broke. It was simply something to tick the heck out of me. So I realized that whatever I was running at the time, I couldn't do anything about it. So after another couple of really frustrating days, I decided I had to find out who or what was trying to get my attention and why. So in an effort to gain serious perspective, I did something I haven't done in a long time. I went with a good friend to Taco Tuesdays and had a glass of wine. And then I started relaxing and feeling better, and so we talked about it. And then we consulted the God of all wisdom and intelligence, Google search. And everything we found out had to do with me sabotaging myself, which, in retrospect, it's obvious. You're sabotaging yourself from wanting to do something. You're getting distracted. You're getting frustrated and angry. And it also pointed out that I should release my occasional control of things, just occasional. I know, just occasional. But I had had a couple of really hard-line goals that I wanted to reach by the end of the year. And here I was still not reaching them because, well, for a multitude of reasons, my hypnotherapy practice got really busy. OTCA concerts started up again. I started catching up with people on Facebook, and now it was really getting ridiculous because I don't spend that much time on Facebook, but I was. The bottom line was, after my Google and wine therapy, I realized that I was just totally out of alignment, out of integrity, out of congruence with my own values and my own goals. So I learned a really good lesson, a reminder really. You don't have to ask for signs. Communication is always going on between the universe, your unconscious, and it's around us all the time if you just pay attention. But that's the hard part, paying attention. Because, well, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but there's a lot going on out there. It's a very distracting world that we live in. You know, we've always got our phones. It's like if I walk out of my house without the phone, it's like, what's wrong? Something's wrong. But we do this to ourselves. so that it's so easy to tune out that guidance from Spirit that's always talking to us. And it's not something out there. It's hearing your spirit within. That's what's communicating with the universe at all times. It's not off and on, it's all times. But the universe is nothing if not persistent. You say you want something, the universe will go to the ends of the earth to get it for you. And you just need to be ready to receive. It'll start dropping little hints and whispering in your ear. And then if you haven't been paying attention, it'll get a little more assertive. And if you still don't pay attention, it will send you a message in the form of a cosmic 2x4. And I don't know about you folks, I've had enough of them. I really didn't want another one, so it caught my attention. The universe was simply answering my request for guidance and inspiration. And you know how it did it? By pointing out that I wasn't doing my part in that process. And not only was I not in the flow, I was sabotaging myself. So after my Google and whiny event therapy, I finally got it. I was out of flow with the universal energies that were only responding to what I was asking for. And we do this on a constant basis. We do this every day. I really want that new partner. I really want that new car. I really want that new job. So it was a good reminder for me that the universe listens to us all the time. It listens to what we ask for, and then through our unconscious, it serves it up. So are you receiving everything that the universe is serving up? No, not so much, huh? Yeah, I know, me too. But just like me, you gotta get into that flow. And getting into that flow sometimes means letting go of things that you're holding on to. I've said it before, you can't steal second with your foot on first. Growth and change is as natural to us as breathing, as our desire for love and peace. So if you're clinging to anything, if you're trying to control people, places, events around you, you're just resisting the natural flow of the universe. I get it though. These are there's things in our lives that we really want to hang on to and keep because, well, maybe the best reason is because they're familiar and comfortable. Maybe you've even heard, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. That's not a good reason to hold on to something. It's really sad for a lot of people, but it's true. So how do you get into the flow? How do you let go and get into the flow? Number one, you make a decision about what you want. Maybe you want something big. Maybe you want something little. Maybe you want something really profound, like reinventing your life. And it can't be just that wishy-washy, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I had? You can't do that. You've got to go, I'll do whatever it takes to listen to the universe. Then you get really crystal clear about it. Details, details, details. And then as you get clearer on what it is you want, you start feeling that energy and motion, and we call it emotion. Energy in motion. You start feeling that energy building, the excitement, that relief, gratitude, peace, and yes, love. It all sounded so simple the first time I heard Abraham Hicks talk about it. They talked about getting into the flow, or getting into the vortex, as they started calling it later. But you see, I was born at a time when hard work was considered a very valued quality. You know, and I think a lot of that came out of, I'm sure, out of the Depression, out of World War I, World War II. It was important to hold on to a job. And in order to hold on to a job, you had to work hard and show that you could show up before the boss and leave after the boss. I know I've said it before, but my mom's favorite thing was, you don't miss work unless you die, and then you better give 2 weeks' notice. She was serious. But I wonder now, why why we look at the generation X, Y, Z, whatever it happens to be at the time. But look at those generations, and we look at them and we say, they're just so entitled. I know everybody has heard that. I've heard it multiple times from various generations. They act like they're just so entitled. But what if they've got it right? What if they're changing that male dominant paradigm that we've had for so long? We needed that male paradigm to get us where we are today. But maybe they're changing that paradigm by asking for what they want, or really declaring what they want, and then just going with the flow. Riding their skateboards or scooters, whatever. No hard work for 30, 40 years to get that gold-plated watch that has the wrong name engraved on the back, you know. I mean, who knows? They could be doing it right. We could just be holding on to those old beliefs. I just know I've worked hard all my life, but I've never felt like it made a difference until just recently, until I began to following the Abraham Hicks Law of Attractions again, because that was a turning point in my life probably 20 years ago. Yeah, probably 20 years ago. Because up to that point, I was busy. I had lists of lists. Okay, when you're done with this list, go to this list. And I had hundreds of things on every list. It was crazy. I was setting goals. I was working to try to control everything in order to get what it was that I wanted. But it just didn't work that way. At least not for me. Maybe it did for others. You know, a very masculine energy is doing and pushing and forcing and efforting. And we've been in this masculine paradigm for a long time. But now the feminine energy is coming along. It's growing, it's nurturing, it's allowing, it's creative, it's flowing. And we need a combination of these in our lives to reach those goals and to reach our destiny. So I decided to try something different. I went back to those law of attraction basics. I remember listening to Esther Hicks and Abraham talking about pre-paving. Pre-paving is imagining and seeing exactly what you want to happen. For example, if you need to go into a tough meeting, you pre-pave it. You imagine walking in and everybody's got a smile on their face. Everybody says hi, you wave at people. You sit down for the meeting. People discuss their ideas. Everyone's open to those ideas. And then you all come to a consensus, kind of like our CUL council. We just all come to our consensus. So that's how you pre-pave. You imagine how something's going to go ahead of time. And then she also is fond of saying, get into the vortex and then. Get in the vortex and then. Get into that vortex and then make that phone call, that tough phone call you got to make. But see it going well. Seeing them receiving your information well. Seeing that positive health report. Before calling your doctor to get the update, pre-pave it. See the doctor smiling on the other end and going, you know what? Yeah, there's a little thing. We're going to take care of it. It's going to be fine. Just for an example. Or you need to have a talk with one of your kids. Do the same thing. Get into the vortex. Feel good. Feel good. Do whatever it takes to feel good. Pet your dog, your cat. Go for a walk. Come back. Pre-pave it. And then do the thing. It really causes you to get in touch with your heart, because that is where the communication must start. It doesn't start here. It starts in here. And that's what we call raising the vibration. So, I spend the biggest part of my day looking for ways to feel good. Anybody else do that? You're just looking for stuff to feel good about. It's not easy, because it gets really, somebody will call and they'll be griping about something, and you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that. Oh, now I'm really irritated. But it doesn't have to happen. So now I spend most of my time writing or spending it with my dog, Katie, planning events, working with clients. And at the end of the day, I can always tell how well I did with keeping my focus, keeping my intention on being happy, looking for things to feel good about. When I lay down at night, turn off the light. That's the clearest evidence that I've done a good job that day. So just for a moment, imagine floating down the river in a boat or a canoe. Something with oars, not a motorboat that causes waves. So just some kind of a canoe. Just some boat with oars. And these oars are your tools to help you stay in the center of the flow of that river. And the center of that flow is where everything you want is flowing, flowing, flowing with you. And then when you're in the middle of that flow, just let go of the oars. Just let go of the oars. Sometimes we ask for love and peace, but we hang on to that toxic relationship. We say we want good health. Then we eat and drink things that we know don't support that. We ask for prosperity, then we hate our jobs or our business fails. We overwork, we people please, and it's all against the flow. But once that decision is made about what you want, you're crystal clear about it, you feel that excitement build, the emotion of already having received it, that whatever it takes is simply using our oars to get to the middle of that river, get into that flow, flowing with the universe, with inspired ideas, inspired guidance that leads to inspired action, and then just let go of the oars. The cool thing is that once you start paying attention to those little small whispers in the ears, you're no longer going to be banging against the sides of the banks of the river. That's just kind of like those bumper cars, isn't it? But you'll be able to use those oars, use your tools to gently bring yourself back into the flow. So how else can you get into the flow? Here's a quote, one of my favorite quotes from Abraham Hicks. I can complain or I can appreciate. I can find fault or I can look for positive aspects. I can worry about something or I can look forward to something. I can remember things that irritated me or I can remember things that pleased me. You always have the choice. And in every moment in time, I've got that upstream or downstream choice. So try to put your life into that context. So you deliberately try to point downstream, and then all you need to do is, I'm just going to say this out of context, keep your pie hole shut about anything that's upstream. Just enjoy the ride downstream. Then tap into your intuition. Pay attention to the spark of ideas that you get, those sudden insights, and then take that inspired action. Because inspired action is energy giving, not energy draining. And it has that flow to it. One step leads to another, and easily and effortlessly leads to the next step or the idea. That's the way it should work. If we stay out of our own way, if we quit sabotaging ourselves and just stay in the flow of the universe, in the center of that river, gently oaring every once in a while, keep ourselves in there. And how do we oar? We oar with our thoughts. We oar with our emotions. Our thoughts are the very thing that will keep us out of balance and out of flow of the universe, quicker than anything else. If you can desire it, the universe can deliver it. You've just got to be as happy as you can be, for as long as you can be, as often as you can be, and let everything else take care of itself. Your vibration, your energy, is your responsibility. If these last couple of years have taught me anything, it's that being happy takes a lot less effort, a lot less energy than being unhappy. And it feels a lot better too. So make that decision to trust the universe. Trust your own inner guidance. Take inspired action, because once you're in the flow of the universe, I promise you, you will never want to get out of it again. I'm Kimberly Kelley, your spiritual director here at Center of Universal Light. You are the center of universal light. Exactly. Thank you, everybody.